The air in the lecture hall was thick with tension long before the confrontation began. It was supposed to be just another Monday morning at the prestigious Redwood University, a place known for intellect, progress, and inclusion. Yet, beneath its polished halls, bias still thrived quietly, until one moment exposed it all. Professor Malcolm Carter had arrived early, as he always did, to prepare his notes and arrange the projector. A calm, composed man in his 40s with a sharp mind and a quiet grace, he'd spent over 2 decades teaching constitutional law, mentoring hundreds of students about justice and equality. But that morning, justice would come knocking in an unexpected way. As students began to file in, a campus security officer entered the lecture hall, tall, white, and visibly irritated. His radio crackled as he scanned the room, eyes locking on Malcolm. "Sir, may I see your ID?" he demanded. Confused whispers rippled through the classroom. Malcolm, caught between disbelief and composure, calmly replied that he was the professor. But the officer's suspicion didn't fade. The scene escalated quickly. The officer insisted he'd received a report of an unauthorized person in the classroom. Someone who didn't belong. He didn't check anyone else's ID, just Malcolm's. The black man standing at the front of the room with lecture notes in hand. Students froze, uncertain whether to intervene or stay silent. Some pulled out their phones, recording discreetly, while others lowered their heads in discomfort. The security officer, feeling the weight of every eye in the room, repeated his demand, louder this time. "Show me your identification." Malcolm's hands didn't tremble. He looked at the man, then slowly turned to the wall behind him, where a framed diploma from Harvard Law hung, gleaming under the fluorescent lights. "That's my identification," he said quietly. The silence that followed was deafening. The officer's face turned pale as realization hit. He'd just profiled a man who'd spent his entire career teaching others about equality before. The law, a man who had probably written papers on the very topic of racial bias that had just played out before a classroom of stunned witnesses. But Malcolm didn't lash out. He didn't yell. Instead, he let the moment speak for itself. The officer mumbled an apology and left, his footsteps echoing down the hall like a confession. Yet the damage had already been done, not just to him, but to everyone watching. After a long pause, Malcolm looked around the room. His students, some with tears in their eyes, awaited his next move. He simply said, "This is why we study the law. Because justice isn't about words on paper. It's about moments like this." The rest of the class was silent, yet it carried more weight than any lecture could. That day, Malcolm didn't teach from the textbook. He taught from life. And when the video hit social media later that afternoon, it spread like wildfire. Millions of people watching a real-life lesson unfold in seconds. A few commented that the officer was just doing his job. Others saw it for what it was, a clear reflection of how far society still had to go. But Malcolm didn't seek revenge or publicity. He continued teaching, continued mentoring, continued believing in a justice system that often failed men like him. Because to him, change didn't come from outrage alone. It came from education, from moments that opened eyes and hearts. Sometimes it takes a single act of ignorance to reveal a lifetime of wisdom. And sometimes the man you question about belonging is the one who built the very system you hide behind.